Well, hey there, welcome back to Heimler's History. In this video, we're going to look at yet another one of your required Supreme Court cases for the AP government curriculum, namely McDonald v. Chicago. So if you're ready to get them brain cows milked, then let's get to it. So just like in all of my required case videos, let's begin with the facts of the case. The facts of this case actually begin with another case that had been decided in 2008, namely HEIMLER v. the District of Columbia. In that case, the court ruled that the restrictive gun ownership laws in Washington, D.C. were unconstitutional. However, because D.C. is a federal district, that ruling only applied to federal territory. So a man named Otis McDonald, along with a few other Chicago residents, decided to do what they could to apply this decision to the states. For McDonald's part, he was a grandfather whose street had been taken over by gangs and his house had been robbed 5 times. As a hunter, he owned several rifles and shotguns legally, but argued that such large guns weren't practical for use in self-defense in case of a midnight break-in. So he wanted to buy a handgun, but the problem was that Chicago arguably had the most restrictive handgun laws in the nation, and so the constitutionality of those laws was brought before the Supreme Court. Okay, so what was the constitutional principle at stake in this case? Well, this is pretty obviously a case about the Second Amendment and its protection of a citizen's right to bear arms. McDonald and the folks who filed with him argued that Chicago's restrictive gun laws infringed upon their right to own guns, especially after the ruling in the Heller case. However, the opposing side argued that restrictive gun laws were necessary to uphold public order and safety. And remember, in cases like these, that's always the balance the court is trying to strike. Do we uphold personal liberty at the expense of public order and safety, or vice versa? Well, to see which they chose, let's look at the decision the court handed down. The court ruled in favor of McDonald and the other petitioners, arguing that Chicago's gun laws were indeed a violation of these citizens' Second Amendment rights. However, always keep in mind that although this is a case about the Second Amendment, it's not only a case about the Second Amendment. It's confusing. Well, then let me explain it up real nice for you. Remember that the Second Amendment, along with the other 9 amendments in the Bill of Rights, only protects citizens from the federal government, not the state governments. It was the passage of the 14th Amendment with its Equal Protection Clause that allowed the court to apply the Bill of Rights to state governments as well, and that's why the court can rule on a state law about guns. And it's very important that you understand the logic of what happened as a result of this case, so follow me here as I consider why this case matters. Since the Heller case only applied to federal territory and not to the states, the McDonald decision applied that same ruling to the states. This process is what's known as selective incorporation, which is the means by which the court applies the civil liberties found in the Bill of Rights to the states. And so the result of this decision was that any state or city that had similar restrictive gun laws had to rewrite their laws to fall in line with the McDonald ruling. And why? Well, because, as Justice Samuel Alito wrote in his majority opinion, it is clear that the framers and the ratifiers of the 14th Amendment counted the right to keep and bear arms among those fundamental rights necessary to our system of ordered liberty. On the other hand, dissenting judges argue that there was nothing in the history or logic of the Second Amendment that made gun ownership a fundamental right, but alas, their argument did not carry the day. Okay, I hope that helped. If you want even more help, then click right over here and grab a review packet, which is going to help you get an A in your class and a 5 on your exam in May. I've got videos on all the other required Supreme Court cases right here, so click away if that's something that you're into. Subscribe if you want me to keep making these videos, and I shall surely oblige. Heimler out.